What's kicking? What's kicking? Let me just set that camera up real quick. What's kicking? Thank you for joining my live stream. I plan on doing this maybe once a month where I do Ask DEEJ. My name is DJ Diveny. I'm a pro freestyler and content creator. I do soccer and football tricks. In this video, I'm going to answer the top questions that I got this month. I have about 1 million followers on Instagram, about 650,000 on TikTok, and I get questions in my inbox and my comments every single day. And so I wanted to take the opportunity to make a long form video where I can answer those questions fully and also have them as a reference for people to go back to, or if people ask me new questions or new people ask me the same questions, I can send them to this video. So I have 5 questions from a story sticker that I did 2 days ago. So I have the 5 questions here. I'm going to tell you what they are right now, and then I'm going to answer 5 of the most common questions that I get all the time. All right. So the first question we have from Dina Rashad 3. I'll try to show it as best I can there. And they said, how long can it take to see a big improvement with dribbling and footwork and skills? So that's question 1. Question 2 we have from Layla Soccer 19. What has been a place that has been the most fun and the best to play soccer in? Great question. I love that question. I had to think about it a little bit. I've been to some cool places, so that's a good question. Next question is Ben RH31. When was your lowest moment where you thought you were going to give up on your dream? This is a really thoughtful question, really personal question that I want to take the opportunity to answer pretty fully. Next question is n.a.guzman. What age did you discover your passion for soccer and why? And they also said thank you, which is nice. So I think her name is Natalia. Great question. And then the last question will be Saeed Halif. What was the first video that I made on Instagram? So I have 2 answers for that, and that'll be at the end of this video. I'll be answering those questions. Right now, I'm going to take a moment to answer 5 of my most common questions that I get. And I'll rattle these off pretty quickly because they're pretty simple to answer. So probably the most common question I get is, why do I not play for a professional club? Why don't I try to play professionally? Why don't I play for the international team, the US men's team? Why don't I go pro? How come you're not pro? Do you play pro? Some variation of that question. So the answer for that is, I am not a professional soccer player, nor am I a professional footballer. I'm a professional freestyler and content creator. That means that I get paid, I make a living doing skills and tricks with the ball. I do them at shows and events, performances all over the world, and I also do them for social media content, making videos. A lot of the time, the videos are my own videos that you love to watch, but sometimes there are sponsored posts where I represent another brand, and I showcase their products and services within the creative videos that I make. So I actually do that for a living. I prefer to do that because I don't get hurt. It's fun. I'm really good at it, and there's a number of other reasons, but I don't play professionally because I was never good enough. And I don't say that in a negative way. I played Division I college soccer at the New Jersey Institute of Technology from 2011 to 2014. So I played at what is arguably the highest level of amateur soccer in the United States, outside of having an amateur contract with the USL or the NPSL or NASL or any of the other bodies that are underneath the MLS. And so the next stage would have been to go on to one of those teams, a USL team or a PDL team or one of those other acronym organizations where I would play, I guess what you would call semi-professional soccer and go on a path to pro. The problem with me doing that was I would have to give up everything else that I was trying to do to just try to focus on being the best soccer player And even with all of that, I don't know if I would have been good enough to make a team, to stay on a team, to earn minutes, and to move up on that path, to progress on that path. And so it would have taken a lot of sacrifice. And at that time, you get to a point where you have to support yourself. You know, you're 22 years old, 23 years old, and you have to start making a living. You can't go back and live at home forever. Like, you can't keep eating ramen noodles for dinner. Like, you have to become an adult. And so not only would I had to have gone on that path to like semi-professional, make a name for myself, go up higher and higher until I can go to the MLS or somewhere to some other country, but I would have had to work a full-time job at the same time just to make enough income to support myself. And I knew that as a student athlete, doing those two things together was not gonna allow me to be as successful. So I made a conscious choice at the time. I was already freestyling for the New York Red Bulls. I was making money doing soccer tricks, something that I would do for free. I was making money doing it. And I was also making pretty good money coaching youth soccer. In the United States, funding doesn't come from governing bodies or from organizations. Funding comes from parents of players who pay for their kids to get training. And some people disagree with that system. Either way, for me as a coach, I'm able to make money coaching other players. And so between those two things, I was making a very small living doing freestyle soccer. So at 2014, it did not make any sense for me to continue playing. It made more sense for me personally and logistically to pursue freestyle. And that's what I did. And I just really put everything that I had into it. 2015 training really hard, and then 2016 starting to pursue the social media grind because I saw an opportunity to get to where I am now. And I just really attacked that, and I stayed focused on that. And now I'm in a position where I make a good living, for the most part, doing what I love to do every day and talking to you guys on this YouTube live. I see we have like 3 people watching right now, so I appreciate you. So the most common question again that I get asked is, why don't you play pro? Do you play pro? Why don't you play for the US team, etc.? And to keep that short, the answer is I'm a freestyler. I don't play soccer. I stopped playing soccer after college because the opportunity to be a freestyler was better for me than to be a professional soccer player. The second common question I get is how old I am. I'm 28 years old. The third most common question is, where do I live? I live in Seattle, Washington, and my hometown is Washington, New Jersey. So opposite sides of the country, and I kind of go back and forth, especially for events that end up being in New York City, or I might be on the East Coast in Miami. Fourth question, one of the most common questions that I get asked is, can I train you, or can I teach you skills? Can I show you skills? Can I help you learn? Tips for juggling, tips for tricks, tips for skills? And the answer to all of that is yes. All you have to do is go to my website, djdiveny.com, and click book training, and then you can train with me. Right now I'm doing training live on Zoom classes, so you can join me on screen where I can see you, and I can coach you and help you improve at all kinds of skills. Right now I'm running a program that's every Saturday, and we have a great group of players that are learning tons of skills every week. So yes, I can teach you, but for right now, like, that's the main way that I do it. Once in a while, I'll do private sessions with people if I'm sticking around in one place at the same time. And then I'm also doing Baller Boot Camp, which is every Saturday, and that's free on this live stream. So you can set the reminder for that if you're subscribing, and you can join me every week for a 1-hour free session that I'm doing from my living room. And it's just cone work, technical work, dribbling, foot skills, push-ups, sit-ups, squats, bodyweight exercises to keep you fit for soccer. So those are, what did I say, 4? So we have one more most common question, and then we're moving on to your questions from the users that I showed at the beginning. So one of the fifth most common questions that I get is, who inspires me? And there's a lot of answers for that. There's a lot of people that I'm personally close with. I have a lot of family that supports me, and then also idols that I look up to. So there's a lot of people that inspire me and motivate me. The number one is probably my dad. He's my number one fan. A lot of people, including my girlfriend, including you, maybe say that you're my number one fan, you're my biggest fan. But the fact is, I think my dad is my absolute number one fan. And he taught me everything about being a man and about being an athlete, a competitor, a player. And so I always have looked up to him, and I always aspire to be like him as a human being. And he probably inspires me the most out of anyone. And then after that, it's all the people that I work with, my manager, my girlfriend, my mom as well, who helps me with a lot of things, my coaches that I've had in the past, and all the people in between. So those people inspire me and motivate me every day to keep climbing higher. So those are my 5 most common questions that I get. Next episode in July, I'll answer another 5 common questions that I get all the time. So that way I'm not answering these kind of like simple questions on this live. So now the moment you've been waiting for, answering this first question. And thank you guys again for joining. Again, I'll be doing this every month, once a month. So if you have more questions that you want answered, you can put them in this chat or in the comments section on this video. I'll also do another sticker post on my Instagram story where you can ask a question, and also maybe a TikTok or something where I'll have a video where you can ask a specific question. And I've looked at all of these, so I can't show you because all the screenshots are on my phone, but there's a ton of questions. Actually, I can pull up Instagram and I can show you the insights from the post where I can see all the questions that were answered, or asked rather. Let's pull this up. So this is the post that I did in my story. It's basically just ask me a question, I'll answer it on YouTube. And here are all the questions. So I can see all of these sticker questions. And I go through all 100 of these, or however many there are. And I try to find the best ones for this video. So let's start with that first question. And I'm answering these kind of raw. I just kind of looked at them. I said, I'm going to answer this question. I'm just going to kind of do it freely. So the first question again is from Dina Rashad 3. How long can it take to see a big improvement with dribbling and footwork and skills? So the answer to this question, great question, is there's a sliding scale. Okay? If you start anything new, you can see a lot of progress very quickly if you practice a lot. The key is practice, the key is commitment, the key is discipline, the key is proper training, teaching, learning from someone who's educated. So if you're a soccer player or a footballer, you have a coach or you have a trainer, or you have an older sibling, or you have a pro athlete that you watch and observe. You learn from them. So if you start from scratch, right, you've never done math before, and someone starts teaching you the number system, and then they start teaching you how to add numbers together and subtract one number from the other number, you're going to progress very quickly. But then as you get more educated, as you develop more skill in that category, it's going to take longer to learn the next new thing. So for me as a soccer player, you know, I was able to go from, let's say, juggling the ball 10 times to juggling the ball 100 times in a year. And then I was able to go from juggling the ball 100 times to 1,000 times in another year. But then at that point, you kind of reach this plateau. It's very like a Gaussian curve where it goes up very quickly, and then it starts to level off at the top where you reach that kind of maximum potential. And so at this point, I might be able to juggle the ball 10,000 times, but I have a physical limit as to when I get tired. So you can only see so much improvement. If you want to see a big improvement, put in a lot of good training. So proper training, not just doing random stuff, do something very specific, and learn from the best person you can learn from. So maybe that's me, maybe that's a sibling or a coach, like I said, and learn from them so you can get that information and skill faster. You'll see big improvements early on with a lot of practice, and you have to keep putting in more and more practice and training to see improvements. If you're a high-level player, it's going to take you a lot longer to see that serious improvement in your skill and in your ability, but you can always improve. Let's look at a player like Lionel Messi. So Messi's been playing for well over a decade, right? And he's been one of the top players since the 2006 World Cup almost, and he scored hundreds and hundreds of goals, and people are saying, okay, well, how does he get better? You know, how does he stay at the top of his game? And the answer to that is he keeps his strengths as high as possible, and he also improves any of his weaknesses. So right now you start to see him dropping into more deeper positions to get the ball and start manipulating plays. Whereas when he was younger, he would stay higher and just look for darting runs, taking the ball on fast dribbles, attacking the opposite team. And so now he does a little bit more in his play where he sits in a little bit deeper and orchestrates more movement with the team. And I think as you see him age over the next few years, he'll drop even deeper and add different assets to his game. Sort of like taking some of the elements of an Iniesta and implementing them into his style. He'll always be Messi, but he's going to start adding these different elements to his game to show growth. So he might not be able to dribble quite as fast as he used to, but he'll be able to create more through balls than he used to and generate more assists. So if you want big improvement and you want to see those big improvements, train a lot, but train smart. So there's this old saying, work smarter, not harder. You want to work hard, but you also want to work very smart so you get the most out of your training, and that way you'll see the most improvement. Great question. Dina Rashad 3, thank you very much. Next question, we have Layla Soccer 19. What has been a place that has been the most fun and best to play soccer in? So I really love this question. I've been to a few different countries. I've been to a lot of cities across the United States. I've been to a lot of places, and I've played soccer, I've played football with a lot of people. And if I had to think of like the best moment in my life of just rawly playing soccer for fun with people, it would have to be Santos, Brazil, on the beach at midnight. So I was invited by Red Bull to participate as a host or as a creator at the Neymar Juniors 5 World Final in Brazil. So every year except for this year, Neymar Juniors 5 is like a five-a-side tournament that's a global tournament, and the winners from each country get to go and compete head-to-head in Santos, Brazil at Neymar's training institute. Really cool vibe. It's very street soccer oriented, and it has an interesting rule where if you get scored on, you have to take a player off the field like dodgeball. And the team with the most players left at the end of the game wins, or when a team is eliminated by the number of players. So I got to go to Santos, Brazil. I flew there from New York, and it was in July 2018. And the night that I got there, we went to the hotel. They put us up right on the beach in Santos, and we were down just having some drinks. And we walked along the beach, very wide open beach, and there were some guys playing football on the sand. And I think one of them, might be in this chat because they usually watch my YouTube videos. And we just asked if we could join, and we got like a 7v7 game going with some of the people from the Neymar event and then these locals from Santos, and we used their bikes for goals. So they put bicycles upright or upside down, side to side, to make goals on each end, and we just played freely on the beach. And I was inspired in freestyle and street soccer a lot by Jogo Bonito and by these DVDs that came out when I was a kid, maybe 15, that talked about Ginga. And Ginga is basically rhythm. It's Brazilian rhythm for sport and for football. And so I got to fully immerse and live that experience of playing football in Brazil with Ginga, with people from Santos, and just really live that fantasy of street soccer to like the ultimate level. So that was the number one place that I've ever experienced playing football before. Great question. Thank you for that question, Layla. Keep asking these great questions, and I'll be able to answer even better ones next month. I'm actually really enjoying this, so thank you again for watching and joining me on this live stream. We're on to question number 3 from Ben RH31. When was your lowest moment where you thought you were about to give up on your dream? So this is a great personal question from Ben. Sorry if this is backwards. I'm doing like a recording. Hopefully it's mirrored or like shown normally. But if it's backwards, hopefully you can understand what I'm saying. My lowest point where I thought I was going to give up on my dream was 100% when I got to college and I tried out for the men's Division I team there. And obviously I didn't make it from the walk-on tryout. And at the same time, I was studying architecture at NJIT. If you know anything about college education, it's very expensive and it can be very rigorous depending on what you're doing. And architecture is one of the most time-consuming and probably frustrating majors that you can have. Other majors like nursing are very extensive, medical fields very extensive. Engineering can be difficult, chemistry very difficult with like certain classes like organic chemistry. So there's certain majors in college that are just very, very competitive and difficult, and architecture is one of those majors where I thought, oh, well, I'm just a hard worker, so this will be easy for me. And little did I know, it just wasn't for me. I really thought that I wanted to be an architect. My parents are both in the arts. My father is an art teacher, and my mother is an interior decorator. And so I really felt when I was growing up that I wanted to be in that design category and that field and become an architect. That's what I wanted to do. And I couldn't have been more wrong. I got there and I started the projects, and they were very, very difficult right away. And I got maybe 2 weeks in, and I was just like, this is not for me. This is not what I want to do. This is so difficult and frustrating, and I don't know where this is going. I don't know what's going to happen. And I just got to the point where I couldn't play soccer anymore because I was so focused on my studies and on my projects that I just wasn't even exercising at all. I was gaining some weight. I was eating unhealthy. I was sleeping unhealthy or not sleeping at all. And it was definitely the lowest point where I was just like, I felt that I made such a huge mistake in with my time and with my energy that I could have been at a different school playing the sport that I love while educating myself in something that was a little bit more comfortable or a little bit more, I guess, safe. I don't know. I had A's. I had a 4.0 in architecture for the semester, but there were points where I would like cry, where I was like depressed. I didn't want to be there, and I got to the point where I had to make a change. And so pretty much within a month or two of that major, I switched my major to applied physics. And my original goal was to not only change my major, but to change schools to where I could play. And that ended up being the best thing for me because it allowed me to free up time to train, to exercise, and to play soccer again. So the lowest point where I thought I was going to give up on my dream was when I went into architecture, and part of me was going to stay in that environment and just completely not do soccer, football, and exercise anymore. And that would have been probably the worst thing that I could ever do in my life with the type of person that I am. And so luckily, I was able, with the support of my family, to make a very conscious decision to make a big change. And I'm very happy with that decision, and no regrets on not being an architect. I'm very much happy doing what I do with the ball, and especially proving a lot of people wrong that said that this couldn't be a thing, that this couldn't be a career. Well, what are you going to do after? What are you going to do when you're older? And what are you going to do when you're 27? I'm 28 now and still going very strong, still improving, still climbing higher. And so I'm very happy to have dug myself out of that. And I guess, based off that advice that I would give you, no matter what age you are, hang on to your passion. Whether it's a hobby that you do on the side or something that you want to make a full career out of, a full living on, hang on to that passion and just find a way to make it work for you, because it's very important. It's very important to feel fulfilled and satisfied in your life, that you got the most out of it. And so whatever that may be, just hang on to it. You don't have to be the best in the world. You don't have to be the number one of all time. You just have to have the freedom and the ability to get to do what you love to do. And so if that's soccer, that's great. Keep playing. Keep working if you want to improve and play pro, or just keep playing for the love of it. If it's, science, then work on educating yourself, become a scientist or become a teacher or become something that you can hang on to that passion for something that you love to do. So thank you very much again, Ben, for that awesome question. Moving on to question number 4. What age did you discover your passion for soccer and why? So this one is from n.a.guzman. Sorry, again, if it's backwards, I apologize. What age did you discover your passion for soccer and why? So my dad has been coaching soccer since I could walk, and so I was always in and out and around a training session or around a camp or a clinic or a team, and always around the ball. And I actually really didn't like soccer because I hated having to get up so early to go with him to all of these practices at 6 o'clock in the morning all the time, and always having to be around it. It was kind of just like suffocating almost how much I had to be around soccer at a very, very young age, and I didn't naturally gravitate towards it. But I would say by age like 7 or so, my parents forced me to play recreational soccer in our town. And that's when I just naturally discovered that I had some athletic ability, I had some talent. Obviously, I was like 7 years old, so it's not like I was very good, but I could run and I could jump and I could kick a ball and I could play and I could work hard and I could compete. And I realized very quickly that, I was more advanced than the other players and the other kids in my age group. And so that gave me confidence, gave me, an edge that I wanted to be even better than any of the players that were on the field. I wanted to be the best player. And so by age 9, I think I was playing more recreation soccer and really starting to understand, okay, I'm starting to get faster. I'm starting to get more technical with the ball. I'm starting to dribble better. And then by age 11 was the real turning point, the real age that I knew I had a passion for soccer and understood why I wanted to do it. And so at age 11, I joined a travel team in the United States. That means you're on an advanced team with higher level players. And not only did I join that travel team, but it was also 2 age groups up. So where I was growing up, there weren't academy teams. There were no professional development academies. Or if there were, they were very far away. They were very expensive. It wasn't feasible for my family to have me do those. And so I played age groups up. And so at 11, I was able to join that team and work very hard to not only start on that team, to not only play a lot of minutes on that team, but to become one of the best players on that team. And that was where I just sunk my teeth in all the way, and I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to be an athlete. I'm meant to be a competitor, and I'm meant to love soccer. And so at age 11, that's when I started juggling. I started getting obsessed with juggling and breaking my juggling record. And I started learning a couple tricks. I started practicing the around the world, and I started practicing the neck stall. And around that same time was when some of the first ever soccer trick videos started coming out. And so I started to see other players and other people doing a few soccer tricks, and I was like, man, I want to look like that. I want to do that. I want to be the best at that too. So at age 11, that was when I really was just like, this is what I want to do. Soccer tricks, competing as an athlete. And from there, I just grew every year. From then on, I just went higher and higher, and I just reached further and further, and I just worked really hard to achieve goals each and every season. And sometimes I would accomplish them, sometimes I wouldn't get quite close enough, but it always made me wanting more. So at age 11 was the age that I really developed that complete passion. So thanks again, n.a.guzman, for that awesome question. What age did I discover my passion for soccer? Last question, Saeed Khalif, sorry if I pronounce your name wrong. What was the first video I made on Instagram? So the first video I made on Instagram, I'll see if I can pull it up actually, was, I'm pretty sure it was not even a video of me. I'm pretty sure the first video I posted on Instagram, which I made because my friends at the New York Red Bulls told me I should do it, was a video of this player that I used to train from my hometown. I'm trying to see if it's on here. I don't think it is. But his name, no, I don't think it's on here. So anyways, I'll pull up one of the first videos right now I have on my page. It's from November 17th, 2014, and it's a video of an ACA 3000. So this is the first video, or one of the first videos I posted on Instagram that I posted on the internet. So I'm in like a grimy racquetball court at my college. And again, this is like 5.5 years ago. And I did an ACA 3000. That was it. It has 77 likes on it. Big time. And yeah, that's it. I didn't know how to use Instagram, and I just posted that video. So that was one of the first videos. It wasn't the first video. The first video was another trick that I taught a player I was coaching, and he was able to do it. He was like 7 years old, and I posted that video. It was pretty cute, pretty cool. So those were the first videos that I posted on Instagram. Sorry, I'm just reading a comment from someone on Instagram. People have a lot to say. So this was fun. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for asking me questions. And again, I'm doing this again in July. So comment in the chat or in the comments section more questions that you want answered. Make them specific, like the fans that asked the questions that I just answered, where they're a little bit more thoughtful, a little bit more personal. And I'll also answer 5 of the most common questions that I get. Like next time I'll answer a question like, how tall am I? What's my height? I'll answer the question, what's my favorite team? I'll answer the question, Messi or Ronaldo? I'll answer the question, you know, what team would you play for? I'll answer some of the most common questions next time, but for now, leave those questions that you have in the comments, and I'll select the top 5 for July. Thank you guys. Peace.